Alright YouTube, welcome back to the channel. So it's another TKL dyno DIY dyno build. In the last vlog, I'm sorry it was so long, but I had to show everything that I did that deviated from the original plan, because this is not looking exactly like what it originally planned because of the upgrades and the changes I made. So I thought I'd have to put it on the vlog to show you. Hopefully the next installs will be a lot shorter and a bit more easy for you to watch. So in this one, I want to talk about the electronics I'll be using in regards to how I'm going to pick up the data from the rotations. And I'm also going to show you how I'm going to mount the engine, or do the actual mounts for the engine. So I explained that because I've gone for the bigger caliper, the bigger disc, it means I've got not much room for the trigger wheel. If you can see much of there, that just bolts up to the hub carrier, or the disc carrier. So it's very, very close. I mean, it's not a problem, but this area here is going to be completely open, and the reason that's open is if anything's going to set on fire, it'll be this. So I've got a fire extinguisher that's going to go somewhere around here. If there's an issue, get the fire extinguisher on there, you can hit it straight away. Whereas in this area here, that's where the inertia wheel is, and this is going to be fully protected and encased in, so and panelled, so you're not going to be able to get any access to it. So I thought there's no reason to touch the trigger wheel or the hall sensor, the pickup. Once it's been installed and calibrated, or the distance is fine and set. Once it's set, that's it, you leave it alone. So with it being in there, it's going to be fully protected, it's not going to get knocked. So it just makes sense to just to put it in that area. So that's what we do on this vlog, those two little jobs. Going to move the trigger wheel, set the whole sensor up, make sure the control box is picking it up, and also the engine mounts. So I've got my my Gucci box here from Sports Devices. The lads at Sports Devices hooked me with a good deal on that. So I think we need to get that open and see what's what. So let's see what's inside. Okay, so we've got the box open now. So the main thing you can see is the Sports Device SP-1. This is the latest control box. Well, it was at time of purchase. I've had it on the shelf for a while now. But on the front we've got the RPM input if you want to do a crocodile clip-on like this onto the HT lead to pick up the RPM. You've got two K-series thermocouple inputs. So one of them will be used for the exhaust gas temperature. The other one, I'm not too sure yet. I'm going to use it for like maybe a cylinder head or spark plug temperature, or the air intake temperature. I'm not too sure yet. On the back of the unit, you've got your standard sort of inputs for various things. You've got comm communication, your grounding, you've got RPM input if you want it, roller inputs. Like this can do it. Well, this is the same thing as used for the car dyno. So it's overkill for what I need, but it's also very good. The other inputs I'll be using is a combined hall sensor and run instigation button. So you got the hall sensor here, which is very important. That's what's going to pick up the RPM and relay all the information to the box to let me know what sort of power the engine's doing. And then you've got this big button here which will say, right, press that and it starts to run. That's an extension lead for them two, so them two are together. You've got your grounding lead, RPM lead, comms connection to the PC, a bracket for the hall sensor, which is very handy. I didn't know I was going to get that, so that's a big help. The software's on here. I've already got the software anyway. And then you've got your power cable. So what I've had done is I went down to DRD Racing because, as I mentioned in the previous video, I want to move the trigger wheel from there to there. Now currently, I don't know if you can see, but it was going to be bolted to the disc carrier. But I'm just not happy with the space. So with it going there, I've asked them to design me a small little collar with 3 grub screws. Don't know if you can see that. So I can just fit on there. I can slide the trigger wheel next to it, tack it with a few welds, and then that's it. It's done. Trigger wheel's done. I can put the hall sensor mounted here maybe, and then you've got your flywheel here in its normal position, all nice and protected. So I just thought that makes sense. It moves out the way of the caliper, and it's hidden away where it's not getting knocked. So once you've got the distance set right, you do not want to change it. You just want to leave it well alone, and that's exactly what this little part of the dyno's all about. You leave it alone. It's hidden away. You can't access it. It's protected. It just seems to make sense. So I think the first job is to get all this off, then try and reinstate it with this and the trigger wheel and the big flywheel in situ on here, so I can make sure the flywheel is central and protected on the central bars, and then slide this into a nice position, ready to mount the sensor and everything else really. So let's get on with that. So I've just lifted the flywheel up in situ with the welded trigger wheel, and it still makes this nice and central, so it's got the bars to protect it. But what I'm going to have to do now is I'm going to have to lift it back out because it's so heavy. I can't, there's no way I can feed the axle through that on my own. But now I know that with this butted up next to the bearing, that's where it's going to go. I can now start to weld up the bracket for the hall sensor and see if it works. So I'm going to lift this out now and start fabricating the mount for the hall sensor.
After I spit them bars, see how the words hit hard. Follow my gut, I follow my heart, don't care for the dons in charge. Greatness only, living that you want is large. Look to the future, forget the past. You know we passed it. You talk too much, you grasped it. Went over your head, didn't grasp it. Get it, switch that one little basket. You're not ready for the truth, I ask it. Yo, we got the vibes all night that lasted. It lasted, like we got the vibes all night that lasted. You know when I'm on that task, constantly healing scars. You know this moment is a gift, then it becomes the past. I'm made from fire and steel, this soul is meant to last. Energy ain't going nowhere, now we're living it fast, living it. You know when I'm on that task, constantly healing scars. You know this moment is a gift, then it becomes the past. I'm made from fire and steel, this soul is meant to last. Energy ain't going nowhere, now we're living it fast, living it. We hustle, we flow, we grind, we roll. We hustle, we flow. We hustle, we flow, we grind.
Well, that seems to be pretty painless. So I've got that bracket mounted up now and welded in, nice and solid. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the trigger wheel back on here, install the hall sensor, and on my old SP1 box, when you rotated it, it was switched on. You didn't have to have a laptop open. It said on the screen that it was picking up that's got rotations. So I think if I just rig this all up now, just plug the control box in, and the LCD display on the front should display some revolutions if it's spinning. So I'm not too sure if I need to put the parameters into the actual software. Let's just see if it picks up anything first, see if we can get a connection. Right, so I've quickly rigged up this control box, SP1 box, and I've plugged in the trigger wheel hall sensor. Now, if you look at there, I'm guessing stands for roller or revolution. So if I start turning this, see it's registered in there, but the fact that it doesn't know how many teeth there, so it doesn't know, I'm guessing what it is I need to get the software connected to it so I can tell the box how many teeth are on that trigger wheel, so it knows that, it counts it, then it knows when it's done a revolution. But the fact that it's communicating tells me so far that the hall sensor is in the right position, so I can crack on now with the rest of the build. So I'll leave that alone for now. The next job is to sort out the engine mount bars, if you like. I'm just going to try and replicate what's on a go-kart. So I've got two big pieces of steel here. I'll use some pieces of metal like this to go there and there. with say 2 bolts here, and I think that'll be it then. And then I've still got to notch out a bit of the chassis so the chains don't foul on it. But yeah, a little bit more progress. Let's get on with this. Okay, so I've got these little brackets I've made up now in situ, bolted in place. And I've got these big steel bars for the engine mounts that are going to slide on. What I'm thinking about doing is just cutting these to size. They're slightly long, so you can see it's a bit too long. I'll cut them down so it slots in nicely. But what I might do is, let's get a stop there. I'm going to grind down the edges so it's got like a bit of a chamfer. So when I place it against these 2 plates, I can get a really good weld in it. So I might just grind the corners off here, or the edge, so I can get a good fillet weld in there. And then tack it in place, and then take them off the jig, off the chassis, put it into the vise and get a really good weld going round. Because on my old dyno, the engine was bouncing everywhere. I mean, it's still going to bounce everywhere because these engines are single cylinder and they're tuned to the moon, so they do just go everywhere, all over the place. But I'm just trying to limit the amount of vibration that we get, hence using so much steel on the chassis. So let's get these bars off, get them cut to the right size, grind off the edges to get a good fillet weld, and let's just see how we get on and keep going. I'm loving this though. Progress. Okay, so that's the engine mounts finally done. I stopped the video because it was just getting a bit of a pain to go back and forth, because it wasn't a case of weld it in first time. It was a lot of weld it, grind out the weld you just done and reposition it. But I'm now happy with where it is. That's like I've got Dyno's engine here just to mock it up and see how it fits, how it sits next to the axle. And I think that's perfect. That is exactly what I wanted. It's nice and protected underneath here as well. This will be panelled up, so when the operator's using the dyno, should anything go wrong with the engine, it's going to be protected, and there's not much of a gap between this and where the bulkhead's going to be. So again, that's exactly what I wanted. What I'm going to do now is weld in a piece of bar here, so I can put a bolt, which would be like the stop for the engine. So when you tighten the chain up, it's not going to slide back anywhere. You know, it's going to be nice and solid. So I think that's the next job to do, and yeah, make some good progress.
Energy's rap, 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 Energy's rap, 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 energy. Energy, energy. If the energy's rap, 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 rap. Energy, energy.
Right, that's done. So I've got the little bracket here now, which you can put a bolt through there, which will, when you tighten the chain up, it'll force the engine away, and it'll stop it coming, you know, stop the chain getting slack. And like I say, there's a little bit of splatter and stuff around these bars, but I'll clean that up before paint, so I'll get them all nice and tidied up. But this is absolutely solid now, all nice and true and level, perpendicular to the axle. Yeah, really happy. Got the mount there for the hall sensor for the trigger wheel. So yeah, a very, very quick video. It's a quick update. I'm trying to get through this as fast as I can because I'm itching to get out on the go-karts, but there's not enough hours in a day. But yeah, hope you like this install. I'll be on the next one as soon as I can. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.